Welcome to the 31st episode of my advanced English lesson. I'm Dr. CD, and today's lesson is Understanding Life, Advanced English through Biology. Now, remember, this is not advanced biology or advanced. This is actually very basic, but what I find is even my students who can speak English very well when it comes to maybe scientific terminology and vocabulary, they just don't know them because they're not that important in everyday lessons. So this is something that if your English level is uh, high enough to get around well and communicate and express yourself and have deep conversations, you will want to know these words. So let's start off with, what does biology mean? It's two parts. It comes from Greek. It's important to know some Greek and Latin to decipher the words that you don't know because they will come up again. Biology comes from two parts, bio and ology, and ology meaning the study of, but bio means life. It's important to know that. Sometimes people think animals, and that's not true. It means all life and not just plants and animals, of course, fungus and eukaryotes and viruses and all that stuff, bacteria. Um, Biography, graphy being like story, it's the story of someone's life. If it's an autobiography, that means it's the story of someone's life written by the person themselves. Auto meaning self. Biodegradable, it means that life forms can break it down. You throw it away in the dirt, it's going to get eaten by the life forms in the dirt. Things like paper and banana peels. Other things like plastics, regular plastics, are not biodegradable. Biofuel is the life from, or fuel made from life forms like plants and moss. I think there's some good ones there, or some sort of something there. Then different ologies, right? Ology, geo means the earth, essentially. So you see things like geography, geology, geopolitical. Zoo is an animal, that's obvious, but zoology is the study of animals, right? Botany is the study of plants. Biology is going to incorporate both of those. Psychology, psycho, that's what I'm a doctor in. I only have a master's degree in education focused on English language learning, but I do study human development. So it's relevant. It's relevant to my teaching. That's my focus. And psycho means mind, literally. So some of the words we're going to talk about today are adaptation, ecosystem, photosynthesis, species, and habitat. Um, right, adaptation are those changes that a living organism can go through. We do use the word adapt. You might be familiar with the term adapt. We adapt to our environment, we adapt to situations, but biologically, we're usually referring to long-term adaptations through generations. That's what can distinguish a species from maybe its ancestor, or um, the over time, change over time. And ecosystem is really the whole of, it's not synonymous with environment. You see things like eco-friendly and, right, environmentally friendly are the same. I mean, eco by itself kind of does mean environment, and ecology, right, that study of the environment, while the system is the entire system. It's the community of living organisms. Just remember that it's a it's a complex system. It's easy to disrupt an ecosystem, right? I mean, it's like, you want to kill all the mosquitoes? Okay, but what's going to happen next? We don't really know how that would, we never know. That's always been my take on it. Sometimes that gets political, but from an evolutionist perspective, we want to be, you start, mapping these models, no matter how complex you think they may be. Ecosystems are more complex than you would really be able to understand using models and graphs and stuff. So, models can help develop some hypotheses, but not you can't use them to test the hypotheses. So anyway, photosynthesis, that's the process. Everyone knows photosynthesis. You might not be familiar with that word if you're an English language learner. How important is it? Might not be that important, but it's important enough to know. In this lesson, here we go. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants turn sunlight into energy. Species, those are the groups of organisms that we identify because we'll get into some technicalities, of course, because there's a lot of interesting phenomena with identifying species, and it's actually sometimes hard to draw the line. So habitat, that is the natural environment. A habitat is one animal's home that they live in, basically. You know, it is an environment, but that's specific to an organism. You would say like the owl's habitat or something like that. So we're going to talk about similar and different, just to focus. Similar means that it's almost the same, or some aspect of it is the same. And while different doesn't necessarily mean not the same at all, but at least in some area it's not the same at all. We're going to get into that. I like talking about these. What are the similarities and differences between these things? This really isn't for me to teach. These are things for my students to express. Can you do it? You know, I'm sure you can look at this. Oh, I know what the difference is. Can you express it? Can you use some biological terminology, maybe butterflies and moths? We know moths are nocturnal. Butterflies aren't. They're both insects. They both have wings. They both fly. Butterflies tend to be more beautiful. That's obviously subjective, but also generally accepted. And trees and plants, again, colloquially, we would call them. When we say plants, we don't really think of trees. We think of, but maybe in biology, we might want to distinguish that plants is actually the entire kingdom is plants. So trees are plants. But usually when you hear somebody talk about a plant, we're talking about like shrubs, things that don't have like a trunk with a tree. Uh, and there's ferns, there's all different kinds of plants we can classify them in. Reptiles and amphibians. Do you know the difference? Or do you know, are those words? Sometimes it's easy to clump those together if you're, uh, not a native English speaker and you have become very well spoken, you still might have never had to distinguish reptile and amphibian. So it's good to know. Reptiles are the scaly um, things that crawl. They do tend to live in the water sometimes too, but these are like crocodiles, snakes, turtles, and lizards. But they lay their eggs outside of water. That's one important distinction. While amphibians, again, there's usually exceptions, but I generally say amphibians like frogs and salamanders and newts and these animals are going to lay their eggs in um hold on, my cat is meowing at the door. I'm gonna let her in. I just let my cat in the window there. She comes in, and I let her in there. So we're talking about reptiles, amphibians. Amphibians lay their eggs in the water. Mostly, I don't know if I think that's actually what distinguishes them. Their skin's slimy. Again, there's probably exceptions, but we're gonna think like newts and salamanders and frogs. Toads, of course, are warty. They don't have scales. That's important. Scales, and they have gills. I think when they're babies. Some of them may stay in the water. Actually, I think there's some like water dogs and whatnot that stay in the water their entire lives. Here's some those words, those definitions, and these are fill in the blank, but they're basically just the definition. So let's go ahead and look at them. The process by which plants convert sunlight into energy is called photosynthesis. An ecosystem is a community of living organisms interacting with their environment. A species is a group of organisms that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring. Animals often undergo adaptation to better survive in their environments. A polar bear's habitat is the Arctic, where it finds the cold climate it needs to thrive. So, one word there, organism. Organism is basically means life form. and that can refer to animals, plants, fungus, and whatnot. Um, we'll read this and then answer some questions. The Amazon rainforest is one of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. It is home to millions of species of plants and animals. This vast forest provides a habitat for creatures ranging from tiny insects to large mammals. The rainforest plays a crucial role in the planet's health by producing oxygen through photosynthesis and regulating the climate. Despite its importance, the Amazon faces threats from deforestation and climate change. Protecting this vital ecosystem is essential for maintaining biodiversity and the health of our planet. What is the Amazon rainforest known for? Again, you can answer something if you know something differently, that would be okay. But based on the reading, the biodiversity, um, and diverse ecosystem. How does the rainforest contribute to the planet's health? Oxygen obviously is the main one. The threats, climate change, deforestation, and that of course, yeah, the animals. Why is it important to protect the Amazon rainforest? I mean, of course, the oxygen that it produces. There's a lot of animals, and it's just thriving in life, different life forms as well. Um, Photosynthesis is the process by which plants convert sunlight into energy. And adaptation is a change that helps an organism survive, thrive in its environment. The habitat of a species includes the ecosystem, the natural environment where it lives. An ecosystem is made up of all the living organisms within that environment. Biodiversity refers to the variety of organisms and species within an ecosystem. This, can you give similarities and differences between this? Again, cats and dogs. Speaking of cats, here's this little sweetie right there. Hey, hey, little guppy, you're so sweet. Mwah. So, yeah, cats and dogs, of course, they are both mammals, which means give live birth, although we'll look into that a little deeper. They have fur and they breastfeed their young. Cats and dogs are obviously different. Again, this is mainly just for one to help or to practice expressing yourself, being able to. These are obvious pine and maple tree. They're different. You can see in the picture here, they're different. I mean, pine needles, technically, biologically, we might call them needles, leaves, but you would call, I would consider those different pine needles and like a maple leaf. Maple leaf is which country? Do you know the country that has a maple leaf on the flag is Canada. And again, dolphin, shark. Obviously, the dolphin is a mammal. They both live in the sea and can swim very well. There's some differences with the tail fin, I think. They both have dorsal fins. The tail fin is either this way or this way, though. And the butterfly and bird, of course, they can both fly. Butterflies are insects, birds are birds. And then the difference between non-living and dead and the similarity. The similarity meaning being they don't have life. Again, colloquially, I would say if something is dead, you could say it's non-living, right? But in biology, we use these terms to, or in science in general, to distinguish something that had once had life, right? To be dead means that you were alive at one time. There can be blurry things. I mean, a chair is like wood and nails. Is it dead? I mean, it's made from dead material, but non-living, we would say, would never have been alive. Although I would consider myself a panpsychic. Everything's got a little bit of life to it, maybe. But um, we'll continue this. True or false? Birds and fish are similar because they both can fly. Obviously false. Mammals and reptiles are different because mammals give birth to live young and reptiles lay eggs, which is generally true, but we're going to talk about that. Trees and plants are similar because they both can produce flowers. Again, I mean, trees are plants. They do both produce flowers. They don't all produce flowers. Not all trees have flowers, but sure, trees and flowers do both have plants. There are cases of them. Generally, if it's written like that, as long as there are some examples of it, we'll accept it. Frogs and toads are different because toads swim and frogs do not. Generally, I would say that's true. I don't know if that's always true. There's always these weird exceptions, but yeah, toads are generally jumping around. So are a lot of frogs. We've got tree frogs. I have frogs all over the place on my land. Some frogs do uh, swim. So we're going to talk about that, and I had some videos to show this. The world of egg-laying mammals, or monotremes, is both fascinating and rare. The most well-known examples, and I think they're actually the only two examples, but I wasn't sure. There may be a relative of these, but they're both actually related to each other. The platypus and the echidna, which are native to Australia and New Guinea, possibly Tasmania as well. Unlike most mammals that give birth to live young, monotremes lay eggs. After the eggs hatch, the mothers nurse their young with milk. This unique reproductive strategy sets them apart from other mammals and highlights the incredible diversity of life on Earth. Truly does, right? So, what are platypus and echidna native to? Australia and New Guinea. What do mothers of egg-laying mammals do after their eggs hatch? No, they don't leave the young to fend for themselves. That's what reptiles and amphibians do. The reason why we do classify these as mammals, I think, is because they do still nurse their young with milk, and they have the fur. They're just, yeah, they're basically mammals that lay eggs, which kind of throw away. In order to be a mammal, all you have to do is give live, I mean, is to nurse your young and to have fur, I guess would be the technically, those are the defining characteristics. Let's go ahead and read this together. Plants are an integral part of our ecosystem, showcasing a remarkable diversity in form and function. They range from towering trees to tiny ground covers, each adapted to their environment in unique ways. All plants possess visible structures such as roots, stems, and leaves, which play crucial roles in their survival. Additionally, many plants produce flowers, the reproductive organs that generate seeds for the next generation. This diversity not only supports ecological balance, but also provides us with food, oxygen, and aesthetic beauty. So, what roles do the roots, stems, and leaves of a plant play? Well, I would say that they are crucial. They play crucial roles in the plant's survival. And uh, so some of the other ones are partly true. What is the function of flowers in many plants? And actually, they are to attract insects and they do produce seeds. So I think those are both pretty good answers. But I think in the reading, it was about producing seeds. Uh, how do plants contribute to the ecosystem? They do some of those, but mostly providing food and oxygen, right? They're breathing out oxygen and they are food. They're delicious. That's why I eat them. Um, you could plug any answer in these. I'm going to give the answers based on the reading. There are I like not. I think it's better to just leave it open and say, okay, you can give any answer that fits it in and is correct, rather than giving you a word bank. I do it both ways. So plants range from towering trees to tiny ground covers. Root, stem, and leaves are crucial parts of a plant. Flowers are the reproductive organs that generate seeds. And we're going to go ahead here. 1 is the flower, 2 is the leaf, 3 is the stem, 4 is the roots, and we call this the fruit. Generally, even if it's not a fruit, I mean, technically, I think tomatoes are fruits, but like eggplants, I think maybe are technically berries. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, fruits, vegetables, there's actually such a variety, but biologically we can just call that the fruit. And we might even call pine cone a fruit. I don't know. Um, here's some more answer, ask, grow, investigation, light, and question. There may be multiple ones that you could put in some, but plants need water and sunlight to grow. The detective started an investigation to find out what happened. She raised her hand to ask a question, although you could say answer a question would fit, but the next one, the teacher will answer the student's question. That wouldn't make sense to ask the student's question. It's not impossible. It's not grammatically incorrect. And I can imagine a scenario where the teacher will ask the students questions, such as all the students write a question on a piece of paper and they hand it in, and the teacher picks one out and reads it. So ask and answer basically could be swapped around either way. Turn on the light so we can see better. The student had a difficult question about the lesson. Those are pretty easy, actually, not too advanced there. Plants can't grow in the cave because there is no light. And there are some interesting experiments about these, right? If a seed does fall down in that cave crack, the plant can grow and it'll grow towards the light. It'll grow really tall. It might not be as strong, but it'll grow quickly. You can cover a plant up and it will at first grow tall because it's looking for the light. And if you do have a little light up there, it'll actually grow taller faster, although it won't be as strong. And then I'm going to take you on these are all not all, just actually really some of what is some producing, some of my trees and plants that are producing fruits and vegetables and flowers. Let's go ahead and take a walk. I'm going to ask you some questions. Some of these questions are common knowledge, but some of them are just fun facts that I actually had to search and find that I didn't know. So they're fun, but they're multiple choice. So you can take a guess at them, but you can usually make an educated guess and at least eliminate a couple of the answers. Right here, this is my first pomegranate. So growing, we planted these trees 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm really excited to see it producing. And what is the correct answer here? Pomegranates were used as a symbol of fertility and abundance in ancient cultures. That's true. I'm going to just give based on my research here. In ancient Greece and Rome, pomegranates were often associated with fertility. Remember fertility, fertile offspring we were talking about. And that's, we even talked about in previous lessons, the lion and the tiger. They have the liger. They're still different species because even when they interbreed, they have a infertile offspring. To be fertile means that you're able to produce babies. So fertility is that noun of you have fertility. If you have fertility and abundance, then that's kind of like the pomegranate when you think, so it makes sense that it would be a symbol that way. The numerous seeds inside the fruit symbolize prosperity and the potential for new life. This symbolism made pomegranates popular in rituals and ceremonies related to marriage and fertility. Which of the following is a unique historical fact about the sunflower? This is the picture of a sunflower. It's hard to see because it's growing. It's going to pop out of there pretty soon, get big and have all the seeds. The correct answer is sunflowers were used by Native Americans for food and oil production. Again, I mean, I don't know how they knew this because Native Americans didn't really have a written well, maybe Native South Americans, some like Mayan civilization or something that was doing it using sunflower oil. I don't know if they were using it to cook or more of like an ointment for healing wounds. But according to this, sunflowers were cultivated by Native Americans as far back as 3000 BCE. They recognized the plant's versatility and nutritional value. The seeds were a significant part of their diet, and they developed methods to extract oil from the seeds. Which of the following is a unique cultural significance of the lotus? There are some things there, but we learned it actually last week. The lotus flower is a symbol of purity and enlightenment in Buddhism. Let me read you the whole part of that. The lotus flower holds profound symbolic significance in Buddhism, representing purity, enlightenment, and rebirth. Its unique growth patterns, emerging pristine and beautiful from muddy waters, parallels the journey of the human soul towards enlightenment. Very true, right? Here we go. Here is a unique characteristic of the butterfly pea flower. A lot of people don't know that. The correct answer is the butterfly pea flower changes colors when mixed with acidic ingredients. Really quite amazing because here's the flower. You can boil it. I think you can just put it in water. It's actually the color comes out off a lot of medicinal properties as well, and some nutrients and minerals in there. But what's really interesting, you put that lemon or lime in there, which is yellow or green, which really should just make it blue or green or a bluish green. But when it hits that blue, it turns purple. And that's a chemical reaction because of the change. So the butterfly pea flower, known for its vibrant blue color, has a fascinating property that sets it apart from many other plants. It changes color when mixed with acidic ingredients. This feature makes it popular not only for its beauty, but also for its use in culinary and beverage applications. We've got this growing all over. It's actually kind of an invasive species. It has taken out some of my trees when it just covers it, but I've got it growing along a fence. Should be pretty nice. Kind of all year round too. You're able to get it, and you can eat the whole flower if you want. Which of the following is a unique characteristic of the chili pepper? Correct answer is A. Chili peppers contain a compound that can help relieve pain. It's not by eating it, it's really more the topical, and it's muscle. Don't think of an open wound that hurts, but the muscle, right? There are some patches that use several different herbs, camphor and menthol as well, but that cayenne uh, is the compound that you can rub it as a topical ointment. Definitely takes away muscle pain. Here we go. Capsicum is the active component in chili peppers that give them their heat. It is commonly used in topical ointments and creams to relieve pain from conditions such as arthritis, muscle strains, and neuropathic pain. Which of the following is a unique fact about eggplants? The correct answer is eggplants were once believed to cause insanity. Yeah, that's right. It's actually kind of interesting. During the Middle Ages, eggplants were sometimes called mad apples because it was believed that consuming them could lead to madness or insanity. This superstition likely arose due to the eggplant's membership in the nightshade family, which includes other plants known to be toxic. True story there. And even all actually nightshades, they do produce toxins. So do every plant, but in macrobiotic culinary tradition, they're not used heavily for that reason. Or there's specific times too that you pick them. You pick them at night. They release these toxins at certain times. So when you pick them and how you prepare them is actually very important. Um, which of the following is a unique fact about bamboo shoots? 88 centimeters in a day. That's supposedly the Guinness World Record, but I'm pretty sure mine grow at least half a meter in a day. I mean, this one right here, I took this picture on Saturday. It's already taller than me. They definitely grow fast. Bamboo is renowned for its astonishing growth rate. Some species of bamboo can grow up to 35 inches, about 90 centimeters, in a single day under optimal conditions. This rapid growth makes bamboo an incredibly renewable resource. So yeah, it's eating. Every plant is sucking up carbon. So I know I'm counteracting whatever carbon I'm producing just by the trees that I plant, and then I'll cut branches and make the wall and everything, and they keep growing back. So here we go here. Do you know the names of all these? This is a little, again, not the most important thing, but you will come across these things. Let's make sure we know them. Sunflower, butterfly pea flower, lotus, eggplant, chili pepper, pomegranate, bamboo shoots, right? When we eat them, we call them bamboo shoots, as they shoot up like asparagus. And as long as we're talking about plants, we'll go ahead through these again. That first one, we've got stump, branch, trunk, bark. This part of the tree is called the trunk. Also, an elephant's nose, these part are the branches, right? Those are the branches. The skin is more likely called the bark, basically. That's the bark of the tree, and the stump is there. And I've got one more here. We've done these before, but let's do them again. Some tropical fruits. Do you know your tropical fruits? First one is mango. And second one is, I'm going to just delete them then. Papaya, durian, starfruit, dragon fruit, pineapple, guava, coconut, lime, lychee, avocado, and lemon. There we go. I hope you enjoyed our lesson. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.